it's all, one thing I felt is this exam is more like, it also takes a lot of resilience, and how your mental caliber is. And the exam itself is a 1 year process, and it takes another 1 year of preparation. So definitely tests that. And it's like one of these quotes I've read, you will never know the storm has passed, but when the storm is over, you will definitely be a new person.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update from Civilsdaily.
Hello everyone, my name is Parth, and on behalf of Team Civilsdaily, let me welcome you on this very new episode of UNHERD Topper Talk Series. And today we have with us Manoj Madhav S, who recently scored 105 rank in the UPSC Civil Services examination of 2019. And in this very talk episode, we try to focus on those little aspects which many of us normally ignore while following the topper strategies, and what were their note making strategies, how did they made all their strategies, what were the background, what was the mindset while they were preparing, and what made them different with the rest of the herd who also appeared in this particular examination. So first of all, welcome Manoj, how are you?
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you so much for all the welcome and congratulations, and thank you so much.
So right now you are in your hometown, right?
Yes, sir. Right now I'm in my hometown. I'm in quarantine.
So how
actually,
are you feeling?
I'm very happy with the results. But however, I've not been able to venture out of my room since I'm in quarantine. But then, yet I'm trying to conclude my celebrations within the room. But however, hopefully within a day or two, I'll be able to move out. But still, given the situation, there won't be any, grand celebrations. However, I'm content and happy with the results.
I know these are the tough times for everyone, and I'm sure that once you get out from that quarantine time, you'll be able to celebrate it grandly with your family and friends. And I really hope that your dear and near ones, are also safe right now.
They're really happy with the results.
So, Manoj, can you tell us something about your background, like academic background?
So I hail from the city called Thiruvananthapuram in Kerala. I did my schooling here in Christnagar Senior Secondary School. Then I moved to Calicut to pursue my bachelor's in chemical engineering from National Institute of Technology, Calicut. In fact, it was from my college that I started preparing for the civils. After giving 2 attempts in 2017, in 2018, I moved to Bangalore with a job. So I'm presently working with the company there, and I'm still employed there. So that's my brief academic and professional background.
So can you please tell us about this journey? Like there must have been some trigger points. Like we all have prepared for UPSC since ages, okay? And for every one of us, there is a certain trigger point, be it something, moment or a trigger point, and we all have this ambition of clearing UPSC civil services, right? So what was it for you?
For me, it was mostly college. So back in school, I remember I was really a bookish fellow. But when I reached college, it was a totally different environment. And I started involving myself with a lot of activities in college, be it the National Service Scheme or such events. And I started closely associating with people. And also, it was at the same time that I started noticing certain civil servants in the society, how they are respected, their activities, the work they do, the kind of profession they are into. So it got me thinking. I mean, maybe if I sit for placements, I'll come out as a good engineer. Maybe I'll get a good salary. But if I am into civil services, the kind of job, it actually, what they're doing on a daily basis, it's not the same thing they do every day. It's a different challenge every day. So it got me thinking, why not give a try? This is a time when maybe when you can try. What's wrong in giving a try? That's how it started as a curiosity. I must say that's how it all began, as a curiosity on what this exam is. Trying to give the first attempt in a very casual manner. Then things get serious. That's how the journey began. And that's how it started. I must say it all began in college.
Okay, that's very nice. So as you know, there are various stages. Okay, The very first stage is making up your own mind.
Right.
Okay, I have to prepare for civil services. Then there is prelims, then there is mains, and then there is interview. And then there is this wait period just after interview, waiting for that final PDF and
Right. Right.
waiting for your name on that particular PDF.
Right.
So tell me, like, what was the toughest phase for you in those phases?
Well, the prelims is always the toughest place for me. I mean, I've always, uh, felt that prelims is one area where uh, I feel, a lot of uncertainties there when it comes to preparation and be it giving the exam. Mains is one area I've always felt comfortable, because you know what you're writing, and you know that there is a chance. Okay, well, there is some quality which you can assure to the mains answer attached. And so given the three stages of the exam, I will always say I'm always quite not very comfortable with the prelims stage, because I've never been comfortable with prelims. Even now, if you ask me after having passed the examination, if I'm trying to give another prelims, no, I'll not be still comfortable with prelims. But regarding the waiting time after the interview and the results, I think I didn't have to wait much, because my interview was very recent. I mean, it happened in July.
Okay.
So soon after I came home, I was here, and one fine day my friends called me, the results are out. So the waiting period was very much less for me. But yeah, it is quite, that moment when you know the results, it's the rush is different.
Yep. And what was the most interesting phase?
In fact, I must say this particular attempt of mine, I was totally busy. I had a job in hand, and I was preparing parallelly with the job. But in 2017, that is one phase I took an extensive time to prepare. Arams I prepared. For 1 year, I took entire time for each phase I enjoyed. And I must say, mains was one area I enjoyed preparing. And in fact, especially my optional paper, I was very comfortable with it. I was very happy preparing for the paper as well. So that in 2016, towards the end of 2016 and beginning of 2017 was one time I really enjoyed the preparation process.
Okay. So let me dwell into some personal aspect. Okay. So we all know that it is not only your own hard work that paves the way for the success in civil services, but also there is so much support from your family, from your near and dear ones, and especially your colleagues and friends, okay, who are with you more than your family. So there must have been some strategic inputs provided from your family and your friends. So can you please tell us something about it?
Oh, definitely. Family is always a quintessential part, I believe, in any of your ventures in life. So when it comes to preparation, when I decided that, and I'm not sitting for college placements, to take such a decision, to have a family that will support that decision is something I am always grateful for. So my parents never questioned my decision of opting out of the college placements, or what I'll be doing for the next 2 to 3 years. They never had that trust issue in what I'll be doing. And they also took the leap of faith, I must say, with me. As I took it, they also took it. And the most important part I feel is, today when I'm here, when the results are fine, there are a lot of people around me, but there were a lot of people with me when the results were not right, when I had failed twice before. So families, definitely, I wouldn't be here had it not been for them. If I did not, had I not survived those failures, I did that because my family was really, they were my pillar of strength. And they're always there, and I could always initiate a conversation with them when I was not feeling all right, when preparation was not doing good, when the results were not good. And they were always there for me. And also another thing I feel is that there's a kind of societal pressure that exists in all youngsters, and what we are going to do. Didn't you get a job? You studied in a good college. So that thing is there. They never, let that pressure beyond me. They took it all. They acted as a buffer. They faced all the questions, and they cleared that area for me. And I'm really thankful to all of them for that. And when it comes to friends, yeah, definitely friends also, be it your friends, be it your close relationships, they all play a very, very crucial role when it comes to preparation. Because if it's not for them, definitely I wouldn't be here. That's something I'm really grateful for in life, and my colleagues as well. I mean, many of them were really supportive of preparation. So I'm really grateful to the people around me.
That's so very nice to hear, and I know they must have been really proud when the results came out. And
Right.
there is one more thing I would like to ask you. You have been a working aspirant, okay? You have been
Right.
actively involved in a job back in Bangalore, right?
Right.
And also you were preparing.
Yeah.
And we face this dilemma a lot. How can you manage your time while you are in a job or you're doing something or even you're in college final year, okay? So can you
Right.
please tell us something like how did you manage with your job with this whole preparation?
Uh, Once the results of 2017 exams were out in 2018, so I did not make it through the list. So that time I was really sad. I was really sad, and I wanted a change of scene. So that's when I got the offer from this company in Bangalore, and I moved to Bangalore. And I did not write the exam in 2018. I did not want to write the exam. I was really confused whether to give the exam or not. And but as I started working, I could pick myself up again, and I decided that next year I'll be writing the exam, and I had to start preparation. But one thing that was in my favor was I had prepared extensively in 2017. So most of the basic aspects I was pretty much clear with. All I had to do was brush up the things that I had learned in the previous year, and then update it with the current affairs and add things to what I had prepared, identify mistakes, what I had committed, such things. This I was able to do because I was able to, I'm not a very organized person when it comes to learning. So I learn when I find the time is best for me. So some people learn 10, 12 hours fixed a day. I'm not someone like that. Some days I learn just 2 hours. Some days I learn 12, 14 hours. So it all depends on how I find time. But I was able to prioritize the areas that I needed to focus on. I knew there are certain subjects which I needed to focus on. I knew there are certain subjects which I was very strong in. So I managed my time in those aspects, but not in a very organized fashion. Yeah, with the work in hand, things can get difficult after an 9 to 10 hour shift in the office. Coming back and opening the book is a tedious task, but then we all have to find our inspiration in something or the other. So when you're looking at a career in 15 to 20 years long, and I think maybe this is the age we'll have to work for it. And I found my inspiration that.
Okay, so you talked about two important things. First of all, that you never set any criteria for the time, okay?
Right.
And this is one myth that is very much prevalent, be it a current aspirant who is preparing for, and
Right.
be it someone who had already prepared and exhausted all her attempts, and someone who is trying to sit in the examination in 2021. So there are
Right.
certain myths that this exam continues with. So I would like to ask you, how important was time management for you? Like, do you really think that someone has to sit more than 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours? Like, there is a myth let you have to sit around 15 hours to clear UPSC. Do you really feel that this?
Time management is definitely important, but I'm not a strong believer of the fact that one should sit for this many hours per day. What I usually looked at is the quality of time I spent. uh, I usually followed the syllabus and the previous year question papers very religiously. So I used to set my targets were not time bound, rather syllabus bound. So I'll say to myself, okay, you have to finish this particular portion by this time or at the end of this month. So I do not have a daily, very specific targets, but I knew by the end of this month this particular portion had to be cleared. I had to cover this particular area. So as I mentioned, I was not very organized in my preparations, but I knew that within the stipulated time I had to cover this particular area. Even it might mean that one day I'll have to sit for 15 hours a day, but at the same time on another day I would be spending just 1 or 2 hours a day. So that's how it was for me. I mean, I was able to manage time. Time management is essential in the sense that we should cover the syllabus, but not in the sense that quantitatively as such. Spending 12 hours a day doesn't guarantee you a seat in the, in the mains hall or in the interview board. I mean, in the interview. So what I have to say to the future aspirants is, don't measure the time, but look at the quality of time you are spending, how you are utilizing your time. Are you actually reading what you're supposed to read, and are you actually focusing on the right things? That's what I feel is more important. And it's a personal thing. It's a very personal thing, I feel. Some people are very organized when it comes to learning. They find it comfortable to learn following a timetable, and I find it comfortable being or following things as I find it in the syllabus. So it's a very personal thing as well, I believe, and one should be comfortable identifying. This exam has that aspect as well. We should bring out a strategy that is comfortable for us, our background, our surroundings. That's when I think that becomes the that success mantra, I believe. Identifying your strengths and weakness, that's a very personal process. There might not be a lot of people to guide you on that, but then that's important. That's more important when it comes to time management, I believe.
Yep. Even I believe the same thing, that the amount of time is not important. The quality of time is important. So tell me one more thing. There is another myth with the UPSC civil service preparation, and that is there has to be a certain social economic of an aspirant to clear this examination. For example, this preparation needs a lot of money, a lot of support from the family. So does this all these things like socio-economic background of an aspirant, does it matter really?
To an extent, I believe it has a bearing. As in, for example, today coaching has become a very, it has become a costly affair. That is true. It's a reality. And so for the same reasons, aspirants from poor background find it difficult to initiate the process. They don't know where to go, whom to ask. And that difficulty is definitely there. And we cannot deny that. At the same time, I also believe that today we have we are in the age of internet. We have everything right in front of us, and click of a button. So for those who the starting is fine and they're ready to invest time in finding what they need to in the internet, everything is available before them. But I think the what makes this process difficult is knowing what to read, what not to read, finding the right time, the right questions, the right syllabus, right material. That takes a little time. The first 2 to 3 months of preparation is I believe is very crucial. That you get used to the process. So many times people from poor background, they don't get that start because as I mentioned, coaching is a costly affair these days. But at the same time, there are many platforms available online where they can look for resources, look for mentors. So I think it's a 50-50.
Exactly. So you talked about two things, right? One is online platform, and another thing is mentorship. So
Right.
I would like to ask one thing. See, in last couple of years, especially since 2016, UPSC has been changing a lot in its approach,
Right.
and it is always keeping the aspirants on their toes, right? So in this changing dynamics, a lot of things, especially on online medium, has become relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than those offline centers, the online medium has become a relevant source material. And those various platforms that are available on the internet. Okay, so there is plethora of apps. There is so many online mediums. So what was your strategy for that?
In fact, I used a mix of both. So I had used offline centers as well as online platforms as well. So when it comes to, I used offline platforms because I wanted to know what is it like to go to an exam hall and write the exam. You spending 2 to 3 hours in a place and writing the exam in that atmosphere is totally different from taking the exam in an online platform. But at the same time, when I was preparing with the work in hand, the online platforms were of great help. Maybe it is only 5 to 6 hours a day I get to spend for studies after my work. So in that time, it was mostly online platforms that I relied on for be it current affairs preparation or answer writing. So I think it's both are relevant. Both are relevant. It all depends upon what part of the preparation the individual is in.
Yeah, right. And secondly, like for example, someone is not in the thick of things. Like for example, someone is in a rural town of Uttar Pradesh or Bihar or Odisha or Tamil Nadu or Kerala, and if he or she needs to take the guidance, and she needs to talk and he needs to talk to someone regarding these preparation, as you said that early 2-3 months are very important in any preparation for the civil service, right? So how important is that mentorship and those communications that he or she must have?
Well, I feel that the first 2 to 3 months is when the aspirant actually gets to know the process actually is. There might not be any serious learning in the first 2 to 3 months. I mean, at least that's from a very personal perspective. This need not be how it is in reality. For me, this is how I felt. First 2 to 3 months is when you actually get to taste each and every subject. You get to know the syllabus. How the exam process is. So you get to see people preparing. That is when you'll have a vague idea on how the entire picture is going to be. That period is important because maybe in the 1 to 2 years that is going to follow now, that is going to help you a lot. So the 2 to 3 months is very important. And for someone from a very rural background, as you mentioned, he might not have access to coaching institutes. So that in that particular situation, online platforms becomes it becomes a matter of real importance.
Yep. So so tell me one thing. Everyone has their own way of doing things, right?
Right.
And everyone has their own hack. Like, for example, the note making, anything, be it memorizing it, be it note making, be it approaching civil services interviews. Everyone has their own tikram. That's what we call it Civilsdaily. So there must have been some tikrams or hacks that you applied while your preparation for the civil service, because that is something which made you different from other 1,000 people who also paid for the same examination, right? So can you please tell us something about those tikrams and hacks that you've used?
Right. So as I mentioned earlier, prelims is something that I was really afraid of, all the time. So there was this. I used to take a lot of prelims test series. In 2017, in fact, I used to take a lot of prelims test series. So one thing I did is I maintained a book, 2 books called the Book of Wrongs. Okay, every question I go wrong, I used to write inside that book, because it can be something very simple. I know that one particular chapter in polity textbook, I'll forget no matter how how many times I'll read. So I write that inside the Book of Wrongs as well. And definitely I would have made the question wrong in the exam as well. So I maintained 2 50 pages books, small 50 pages books called Book of Wrongs. So whenever in a test series or an online test or an MCQ I'm taking, if I go wrong in a question, I write that inside that particular fact or particular concept. I write it inside the book. Might be a 2-3 sentence or something. So, and 2 months before the exam, I started this process where every day morning I begin my day by going through the Book of Wrongs. So every day I used to go through this Book of Wrongs 2 months before the prelims. I could not do it this time. 2019, I only prepared for 2 to 3 months for prelims. But in 2017, this was something I did extensively. Book of Wrongs I made, and I found it really useful, because it is not the fact that you will get those questions in the exam, but you can walk into the prelims hall with the confidence, that okay, you have done your part pretty well, so the rest we'll see. This is something I used in prelims. When it comes to mains, something I used to do is I used to set time and write answers every day. As in close to 2 to 3 months before mains, I used to set 35 minutes. 35 to 40. I used to set time as in the exam, and I used to take questions, and I used to write myself from many of the online platforms. I used to take questions and I used to write. I used to evaluate myself and compare it with, every day compare it with the previous day's answer. How differently I wrote it. What is the difference I brought in? So that also has helped. When it comes to my optional, something I did is I actually made notes, short notes, as in if my entire notes, optional paper I compiled, I reduced it to 30-40 pages. So I knew, if this question is coming, this is the particular aspect I am trying to address there, and these points has to be there. So that made my revision easy for a subject of vast length. That was very easy. These were the short techniques I used. In ethics also, I did not go for big books. Rather, I just went through the simple definitions and examples that I could find around me. Simple thing. I maintained the paper really simple. These were the techniques I used. I don't know if these are any techniques, but then these were the methods that I used. And I don't know if this will work for someone else, because it's something very personal. Preparation strategy, I feel, is something really personal. What works for someone might not work for someone else, and so and this is what I did.
But let me tell you one thing. This is very interesting, especially that Book of Wrongs. That is something which is very interesting, and a lot of aspirants are going to get help from that. Okay, So that is something a very unique Tikram, and I must admit it. That is very good. So,
Oh, thank you.
so, one more thing. On a lighter note, see, everyone has this plan A and plan B, right? So, what about you? If not UPSC, then what?
No, well, definitely that is something I had thought a lot about, and so presently, since I was employed, I did not have much tension, in giving this attempt. And in case things didn't work out, I was planning to, do few higher courses in safety engineering, and pursue higher options, and with job. So that would have been my backup plan, definitely.
And you talked about something about inspiration earlier. Okay, so tell me about two inspirations or two role models that you have. Like, it can be from any part of life. Okay, it do not necessarily have to be from UPSC perspective, but from overall role models. Okay, so tell me something about it.
Something as such, and when it comes to UPSC, I feel when it comes to the preparation, someone I have always maintained as my role model is my father. Had it not been for my father, I wouldn't be here. I feel, when I was a kid, my father used to have this scooter, and we used to go in school in the morning. So I used to ask questions about everything around, we see on the road. Not even once he has ever said, no to any of my questions. He has always continuously answered, and maybe that is why I have this, habit of asking questions continuously. I try to, question things, even if it is my, answers, be it my, perspective on things. I try to question things continuously. So he has always played a very, important role in what I am today, or what kind of person I am. So I always look up to him. And my mother also, as a person, she has always, told me to be grounded. Regardless of what we achieve in life, you have to be, grounded. You have to maintain that humble character. And I've always followed these two people. I mean, they've played a very influential role in my life. Two people I always look up to are my parents, definitely. And apart from that, there have been many people. Definitely my office, so my manager. There are people I always look up to. Even when they are leaders, they the way they execute things, the way they interact with people, all these have influenced me. This is something I have seen from my circle. And if you're talking about leaders as we learn it, lives of Ambedkar, all these people have definitely inspired. That's something I have felt.
So this whole preparation thing, it is first of all very grilling, and at the same time very monotonous. Like, we have to do the same thing again and again on a daily basis without a fail. Even if we have to study for 2 hours, we have to do it. Or if we have to study for 10 hours, we have to do it. There is no escape mechanism for it. Okay. And during those periods also, there are bound to be time when we will feel low. Okay. So how did you deal with that monotony of this preparation?
So yeah, as you mentioned, so preparation can be monotonous. It might be like we'll be doing the same thing again and again. But what I felt is, maintaining good friendship, right hobbies, taking part with, in societal activities. All this will help, to break that silence, to break that monotonous character. For me, it is always my friends. Whenever I felt alone, or whenever I felt bored with the preparation, I used to give them a call, and they used to come visit me. They used to cheer me up. I must say, my friends. So that is something. That's how it worked for me, to break the monotonous nature of the preparation. And I used to.
And what about hobbies? Like,
yeah, definitely, yeah. So when it comes to hobbies, I used to watch movies continuously. During my preparation, I made sure that every week I went to the theater and saw a movie. That is something I did. Even in Bangalore, that was something. Even when I had a tough time preparing, balancing job and preparation, I made sure that I went to the movies. At least once in a week, or minimum once in 2 weeks. So that is something I always used to do to keep myself entertained.
Okay, so that is very interesting. Okay, and what is the role of the hobbies? Okay, so do you play something?
Yeah, I play table tennis.
I can see a guitar over there.
No, that is something I bought during my college as out of curiosity. But then
Okay.
Now my sister plays it. I don't. I don't. I've tried a few quotes, but then it's pretty bad.
Okay, so I won't ask you to play something for us. If you would have said yes, then definitely I would ask you to play something for us. And in any case, so while preparing, we know that we develop so many habits. Okay, so
Right.
is there any habit of yours that you developed while your preparation, and that habit you are going to keep it for the rest of your life?
Well, I don't know, I don't know if this is a habit or not, but then as I started reading newspaper daily for the preparation, I started doing Sudoku. So now Sudoku is my everyday thing. So and it has become a daily affair, doing Sudoku. It's so that is something I picked up over the time. And so many people do pick up a lot of things like reading and all, but then I have never been an avid reader. I'm more of a visualizer. I like to see things, and I would be more comfortable with that. So this is something I have picked up during my course of preparation. And I don't think I can think of anything else right now.
But that is interesting. Sudoku is something which keeps you on your toes and keeps your mind busy always.
Right. And also, as you mentioned earlier, to break the monotonous nature, that's something, puzzles is something you can always go back to. That's something I felt.
Exactly. And what about those high points and low points in the preparation? Okay,
Right.
so there must have been some high points and low points in this whole process since it started from 2017, as you say. So
Right.
please tell us something about that.
Right. So the high points is definitely when you pass each stage of the examination. That's a high point. You feel comfortable. Okay, you feel that you are on the right track. Especially in 2016, when I gave the attempt and I did not make it to the prelims, I knew I did not prepare well. That was very evident, and I was not sad as well. But in 2017, I had put in a lot of effort. There were months of preparation that went in for prelims and mains. And when I passed the prelims, I was really happy. When I passed the mains, I was really happy. And that was the high point when I knew that, okay, even after mains, I knew, okay, you have written well. So something, probably you'll make through the mains list. So those were the high points. The low point definitely was not making the list in 2017. That was such a low point, and it actually took me a few days to come back to regain all my strength and to take decision on what to do next. That is definitely a low point, and you need a lot of people. And the reason I made it through those times is because of family, friends. That that actually definitely was my low point in 2018. The results were out. Even during the course of preparation, I feel that there'll be a lot of self-doubt. Once you have not passed a certain stage of the examination, you'll start doubting yourself in your abilities. Whether are you doing the right thing? Did you make the right choice? You could have actually gone for some company in campus placements. Why did you make that choice? Did you actually want to go through all these difficulties? Is it worth it? All these self-doubt and such thoughts will also come into your mind. That's also a low. It's all one thing I felt is this exam is more like it also takes a lot of resilience, and how your mental caliber is. And the exam itself is a 1 year process, and it takes another 1 year of preparation. So it definitely tests that. And it's like one of these quotes I've read. You will never know the storm has passed, but when the storm is over, you will definitely be a new person. So it's something like that. Definitely don't know when it's over, but then things will be different when it's over.
So damn true. Definitely true. So one thing is that you talked about your hacks. Okay, you talked about your tikrams that you did for your optional and your prelims and your mains examination. Okay. So generally, what was your strategy? When we talk about a general sense of strategy, what was your strategy for prelims and mains?
Prelims, my basic strategy is go through all the basic books. Now, one thing I made sure is I did not go through a lot of books. I just had a few books, 1 or 2 books for each subject. And that's what I usually maintain for one subject, maximum 2 books. That's my idea. And one thing I did for prelims is I identified my weak areas. I knew this particular subject has very weak, so I got my basics right in it. And for prelims, what I felt is test series are really important when it comes to prelims, at least for me. From a personal perspective, test series were really important for me because no matter how much you learn, how much facts you know, I was not really comfortable with MCQs in the beginning. So I had to get used to that, how to write the MCQ exam, So that took me a while. So my strategy was basically focusing on test series. And when it comes to mains, something I felt is it's all about writing. It's all about writing. You need not know a lot of things. You can know the basics right. Just get your basics right and write the things in a presentable fashion. That I feel is more important. I mean, these are very personal opinions. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't advise anyone to follow the same as well. But anyway, it works differently for different people. So that was my idea for mains. And for mains, I kept the way I studied each subject is different, because I felt each paper needed a different approach. The way you write the answer or the way you frame the answer needed a different approach. So I focused on that as well. And my idea was to stick to the syllabus. The syllabus was really important. To stick to the syllabus and the previous year question. Those are the guiding aspects I feel in this examination.
Yep. So we talked about high points and low points and branding of this whole process.
Right.
But there is a certain element of, what do you say, funness, okay, in this particular examination. We all encounter some kind of funny incident, be it during preparation or be it during the examination. Okay. Be it something that had happened during your prelims examination or mains examination or in the interview hall, okay, or while you were preparing. So did you find anything funny while you were preparing?
Well, I don't know if this is funny or not, but then when I gave my prelims this year in Bangalore. So in the prelims hall, so we are all supposed to keep the mobile phones outside the prelims hall and go for the examination. And so after the paper one, I went home and I had my lunch and I came back for the paper two. So when I came back, I actually forgot the slip they gave to get my mobile back. So after my exam was over, I had to convince the staff there that it is my mobile phone. So I had to open the phone and show them a selfie of mine inside the phone to prove to them, which was a very awkward moment because the selfie was quite bad. So that was something I felt was funny. And yeah, that's all. I mean, but then when you talk about the fun elements, the preparation, 2017, the preparation was really fun. I prepared a lot with a few of my friends. We used to sit around night till 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, and we used to study. So that time we had a lot of fun. 2017 preparation was really fun.
So that is like literally very funny. You don't have to explain it, but I can understand the pain that you went through to explain to the authorities that this is your phone. So one more interesting thing. Okay. So this we call the time capsule question. Okay.
Okay.
So let's assume that you have been given a time machine. Okay.
Okay.
And you go back to a version of yours in the past.
Okay.
Where you are just going to start the preparation. Okay. So what are you going to give yourself, the past version of yourself, the 3 advices to follow and 3 advices that not to follow?
Well, that's a very confusing question. But then three advices I would be giving myself to follow and 3 not to follow.
Yes, after going through all these chunks and things. So
okay. So one thing I would tell myself is that if you ask 100 people about this exam, if you ask 100 people on how this exam is, 100 people will give you 100 different answers. So, and you can't follow 100 different strategies for this examination. So don't listen to everyone around you. Listen, take what is right for you, and then come out with something of your own. How you are comfortable with the entire process. That takes time. It takes a few months to identify. That is something I would have told myself. So it took me a while to understand that. Second one is something I would ask myself not to do is not to doubt oneself. This exam involves a lot of self-doubt, especially once you have failed once. And this is question of self-doubt and self-care. How much you'll be able to do. And don't do that. This exam is like this. One has to face it with the right sportsman spirit. It's okay. Feeling low is all right. That is very much human to feel when you have given your everything and you don't make it. That's very much understandable. But then that's all right. You can always come back. That is something we should tell ourselves. In fact, it is very easy for me to sit here now and talk about it. But then when I was there in that situation, I know how it is. It's difficult. And something I would have told myself not to do, and something I would have told myself to do is stop working. And it's okay to think about plan B. That is something I definitely tell others. It's okay to think about a plan B. This is not everything. This exam is not everything. And in fact, in this attempt, I was really confident in giving this attempt because I had plan B. I knew even if things went wrong, I would be in a safe place. So that is something I would encourage others to think about. And also remaining productive in something else, it actually gives you confidence, a lot of confidence. That is something I would I would have advised myself. So these are my take on things. I don't know how others will perceive it.
Yeah, as they say that in the hindsight, you are always clever. Okay. So tell us something about your interview process. Like, how did it went? Like, which board did you went to? What are the types of questions that you faced? Little bit. Don't go into the details, but you can be brief.
Right. So my interview, it was Smita Nagaraj Madam's board.
Okay.
And it was in the morning session. I was the second person to go inside. So interview started with my work. It was mostly around my work, though not directly related to my work, mostly related to my company, about insurance, how it is, how different clients in India are. And then it was also about my background from Kerala, the matrilineal system in Kerala. Then it went to the extrajudicial killings that were in news, then bureaucracy, since my background is sociology. So there was question about bureaucracy. Then there was question about my activities in colleges. The places I visited, what would I would do? What will I do if I'm posted there as an officer? Such questions, practical questions. And there was also question about my cadre preferences as well. That's how the interview went.
Okay, nice. So if I have to ask you in one line, okay, to tell the present and future aspirants about your whole journey in one line. So what will be the learning mantra from your side?
Something I would say is it's tough. It's not very easy. It's not a very easy process. It's not like any other exam where you can prepare for a few months and you clear it and you'll be happy about it. It's not like that. People actually sit for years, and in fact, I'm speaking this after 5 years and 3 attempts. So it's not very easy to come into this process. But at the same time, you need not panic as well. It's all right. People will understand that this is a difficult exam. So we have to take that thought away of what others are going to think of me. That is quite an unnecessary thought as well. So be confident, trust in your abilities. If not today, tomorrow something will work out for you. And one thing I taught myself is this exam is not the end of the world. So especially after my 2017 attempt, that is something I taught myself. This is not the end of the world. If you want to do a lot of good things in life, there are a lot of other opportunities. Don't worry about it. So that was something I told myself. Maybe I'll tell others that as well. And if you get in the services, be happy about it. It is not just definitely it is your hard work, but there are a lot of other factors also that went to it. There's a lot of luck involved. There's a lot of be grateful to all such factors. Just be happy about where you are today and enjoy the process. This process is something that will keep you grounded. Enjoy the process. It's not an easy one, but still enjoy it.
Sure. So I think that's it from our side, and it has been really wonderful talking to you, Manoj. And I really wish that you get out from that quarantine zone real fast, and you enjoy with your family and your near and dear ones. And I would not suggest you to go out right now, but once it's normal, then certainly give the people around you some party. Okay.
Right. Definitely. Thank you so much.
And before ending, I just like you to say something to our viewers, to our future aspirants, like any advice that you want to give to them.
Just once you know what you're learning and what is the right thing to do, just go for it. I mean, there'll be a lot of people telling you it's not the right thing. Just move ahead with what you feel is right, and it's okay to fail. That is something I would tell him. It's okay. It's very much all right to fail. It is not something. It's not the end of the world. Failure is all right, and that's how you win. I'm telling this because it's very comfortable for me to sit here and advise people, but then I have been there. I'm someone who have failed back to back continuously. So sitting here today, it's okay to fail. and because only when you fail you will know what mistakes you have made. That's very much all right. So don't be sad about it. You will come back. And that's something I would tell the aspirant.
Sure. And that is something very commendable. Okay. So thanks a lot, Manoj, for having while you are in the quarantine time, you are giving us time and talking to us and interacting with so many aspirants who will be seeing this. And with this, I take your leave, and please like, share, and subscribe, and do press the bell icon on our YouTube page so that whenever we bring out any other content like this, we do not miss out. Thanks a lot.
Sure. In fact, during my preparations, I've made use of Civilsdaily as well. Certain current affairs topics and all. I've gone through this, and it's really good. It's really good.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Manoj.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update from Civilsdaily.